In this video, we're going to be talking about how to grow your YouTube channel with live events by doing collabs and also advanced strategies, plus doing some Q&A with you. So if you're here live, we can't wait to do some Q&A with you. And also if you're on the rebroadcast, then you could definitely also check out some fire Q&A that'll be happening in this video. But hey, if you're new here to Video Influencers, Benji, let people know what this channel is all about and how we help people.
What's up, guys? As you guys might know, if you guys are new to this channel, I am Benji Travis here on Video Influencer. Thank you so much for watching. Just want to real quick give a shout out to some people. Everardo says, what's up? We got Joneski saying, just waiting for the live stream. Well, welcome to the live stream and welcome to Video Influencers. In fact, the first thing I want to do, you guys, is share a very fun picture of me and Sean. Sean, can you see the actual picture right now? I just want to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This is a picture of Sean and I back in 2013 when VidCon was in August, which must have been super hot. But this is a picture of Sean and I at one of our very first events. And look at us. We just look completely kind of different. You know, it's kind of funny. I still have that shirt, Sean. But anyways, besides the fact, let's go back. Sean, am I back on the regular viewer window? Is it me? All right, you guys. If you guys don't know, that was Sean and I back in the day when we were young YouTubers. We're still young, but we've been on YouTube for a long time. You know, Sean and I met for our similar passion and interest in YouTube. I was a vlogger with my wife, Judy, of It's Judy Time, vlogging on my own. Sean was working in the church space, working with different individuals, creating content for himself and others. And we met and basically have been working together since. Literally, he helped film my engagement, my proposal. We created this wedding series. I went on to become a daily vlogger with my wife. Sean worked in different capacities, consulting, helping other people with their brands. And, you know, we've done a lot of things on YouTube. Both of us are full-time YouTubers. We have multiple businesses on this platform, and we just love all the opportunities it's brought to us. And one day we were just driving. I picked up Sean from the airport. We were going to my house and we're like, you know, we have so much information, so many experiences about not only how to use YouTube for your passion or your career or business, but also like a lot of experiences that a lot of people we know would love to hear about. So we thought, hey, let's write a book, right? And that was about 3 years ago. And we're like, and we're going to need to start a YouTube channel, of course, if it's about YouTube. So here we are, 3 years later, helping you guys skip a few steps, you know, learn about different experiences, not only that we've had, but other people, because we also have a weekly interview show with other very successful YouTubers, because we feel like we can only share so much based on our own experiences, but when you can hear it from other YouTubers like Casey Neistat, Desi Perkins, all kinds of people that we've met over the years, as well as a weekly tips and tricks video. So welcome to Video Influencers, where we're helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online videos. So excited, Sean. Hopefully you don't mind that I showed that picture, but it shows where we started. And anybody that's watching that knows us from back then, we're so glad to have you and just excited for today's broadcast.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for being here, Everardo, Shane, Miners, Alex, Queen, CC. Great to have you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about, we had a big announcement that we want to share right now, and then we want to get into some tips, and then we want to get straight to your guys' Q&A. So you can ask Q&A anytime you want, and our team, I think, will be capturing some of those questions, putting them into a Google Doc for us so we can see those. But first of all, the big announcement. Now, if you've been around Video Influencers for very long, then you know that we are super passionate about the power of live events. And, you know, we are always going to events like VidCon, events like I'm headed to CVX live this week, events like Vlogger Fair. Benji's been doing international events, a lot of cool different events. And we believe that these are so powerful because not only can you learn a lot, but you can also meet with people, collab, and network. And we're actually going to be a part of, dare we say, possibly the best YouTube conference of all time. And that's not like hyperbole. We really believe like this event, I don't know if I've ever been this excited about a live event, and it's coming up soon. So the big announcement is this. And it's this event called Vid Summit. It's coming up October 10 through 13. And one of the reasons this is super crazy is because a huge influence in our life, Gary Vaynerchuk, is going to be speaking there. Now, you know, one of the things about that, maybe you've never heard about him before, but he actually, around the time Benji and I met in 2009, 2010, was when he wrote this book, Crush It. And we were both reading that book, and it actually had a huge influence on Benji's life, my life, him and Judy, them growing on YouTube. And if maybe you've never heard of him, he's written tons of books since then. We always recommend them. But he's never actually spoken at a YouTube online video conference like this before. So when I heard he was there, along with a whole lineup of world-class speakers, I was like, dude, this thing's going to be crazy. And then, of course, on top of that, we're excited because we're going to be there as well. So tons of the digital video world's top authorities are going to be there, a lot of our friends. But then it's going to be cool. Judy rarely does this. We'll talk more about that. But she's going to be there. And then, of course, Benji and I being a part of this event. And so we really wanted to share it with you guys because not only is it just a conference in general, you know, there's a lot of conferences, and we normally wouldn't do a dedicated like stream and really spread the word about this if we didn't believe so much in how really powerful this is going to be and some of the details about that. And so we actually wanted to share whether you can make it to this or not, because actually this conference is a pretty big investment. It's one of the most strategic, highest level YouTube conferences there is, period. It's probably in the world, the highest level, most strategic, most advanced conference for people who really want to growth hack their YouTube channels. But there's also going to be a lot of cool things doing there. So a couple of things on the announcement, and then we want to share a few tips. And like I said, get your questions in because we'll get into those. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing practically is we're going to be doing a meetup. That first night, there's a whole networking session. So this will be one of the first opportunities to maybe get together, especially if you're on the West Coast. It's in LA. To get together and to network, as well as to maybe talk about your channel, help you with strategy, really answer some of your questions on just a face-to-face basis. There's going to be our sessions. Plus, we're actually more pumped than anything to just learn from everybody else there. I went to this event, I believe 2 years ago, and I always watched the video sessions and I left with more actionable strategies, which we applied since then, which have led to the growth of video influencers just crossing 150,000 subscribers. Think Media is about to cross 300,000 subscribers. It's the kind of actionable advice that we applied from a couple years ago. Plus Gary V, brands and agencies, collabs and networking. It's going to be crazy. So Benji, speak a little bit about Vid Summit before we get into the tips, Judy's involvement, which is pretty awesome as well, and what you're pumped about.
Absolutely. And you guys, the reason I led this whole broadcast with that picture of Sean and I is like, we really believe there's a lot of benefits to going to these events, right? That was a picture of us at VidCon. We've attended many events like Sean mentioned. And number one, the information that you get, right? And two, the people you can network with and collab. I'll tell you, Sean and I probably collab with more people at events in a single day than we can in maybe 6 months time outside of events. So it's a huge opportunity. And this one, obviously, you're talking about some like huge names. Gary Vaynerchuk. You know, I've had the honor of knowing Gary Vaynerchuk through different projects I've had over the years, but I'm even excited just to go and hear him speak. I've never actually heard him speak a keynote, so that's amazing. And of course, you know, I'm excited to meet you guys and Sean and I getting to vibe with you guys, as well as my wife. She doesn't speak a lot, so if there's any viewers out there that's interested in, you know, beauty channel, just in general lifestyle vlogging, we will have our own session. So that's really cool. And like I said, I'm just like excited about this. I've heard a lot of amazing things about this event. Literally, some of the best show up not only as presenters, but attendees. So this is going to be an event not only for the YouTuber or the beginning creator who's just starting out, but it's very serious. You know, it does cost money. The price tag is a little bit more than a VidCon. However, the information you get, it's totally worth it. But also if you're in the industry, whether you're a manager, you're an agent, maybe you're with a huge brand. A lot of brands show up because they want to meet creators. So one of the cool things that comes out of this is brands connecting with you guys, the YouTubers, and potentially collaborating or partnering. I've even heard of large opportunities coming out of this one single event, which is not unique to this event, right? VidSummit isn't the only event that it's happening. It's just the level of a professional experience of just like the variety of people that show up to us. The easiest way I explain it is, imagine VidCon, and you guys know it's a huge event. We're talking 30,000 people, but there's a level at VidCon called industry level, and that's where like the people go to really learn the nitty gritty. They've got tons of sessions. Imagine creating an event just around that level. So you're talking about not just keynote speakers like Gary Vaynerchuk, which by the way, I don't think Gary's even been close to VidCon, but he's going to show up here. You're talking about some pretty dope panels, and it's a much smaller crowd. So your ability to network is going to be greatly more than any other event that we know of. And we've been around, we've seen other events. So that's why I'm excited. You guys leave comments on if you're going to be in the LA area and if you're going to be attending. We would love to know beforehand, and just excited and ready to get right into these tips about how to make the most of live events, collab with people, and taking advanced strategies and implementing them into your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. A couple questions have already come in. Dina asked, where's the conference? It's right in LA, and it's at the Westin right by LAX. So if you're on the West Coast and you could drive there, that's great. If you fly in, just fly into LAX, you could just shuttle right to the Westin. It's a cool place. Been there a couple times. And that is where it is. And we can answer some more questions later. But we want to share some tips to give you some value before we get to Q&A right here about events in general. You know, and whether you can make it to this one, or whether you're going to another event, or whether you don't have one plan, but you want to do one in the future, we want to give you a few tips just really quick before Q&A about how to get the most out of it. And, you know, the first is really the learning. You know, and there's a couple practical things that we like to do. And I am one that is obsessive about taking notes. A lot of people stop taking notes, and I actually think that they're compromising their ability to really continue to learn and grow, because it's actually, stats prove that your retention goes up like 30 to 60%, even if you just write it down and you never look at it again. But one of the things that's also powerful about taking notes is to not just actually take notes, but to capture action items. You know, maybe even when you watch, whether it's our channel or other tips channels or entrepreneur channels, it's less about just capturing information, but what are the action items that you can actually implement and apply? Like, okay, cool, I need to actually go do that. Like, this is the action that I need to go do on my YouTube channel. Oh, I need to go update my end cards. I need to go update my YouTube descriptions. Oh, I should probably start doing my intros like this. And so I like to actually capture my action items in a separate place, so that way you can actually know not just some info, but what to do. And one of the things that's very crazy about this conference is actually, we promise you, specifically for VidSummit, is your brain will hurt, which is in a good way, because the strategies are so mind-blowing. Like the way people are thinking out of the box, how they're growth hacking, strategically doing things, the kind of stuff that you learn about the algorithm, the kind of stuff that you learn about playlists, the kind of stuff that people are also doing with paid traffic. If you're a business owner of any kind, you really should get to either this or always be attending events for those advanced strategies for how to grow your business, you know, especially with online video and YouTube. But Benji, you know, what are your tips when it comes to learning?
Well, absolutely. Taking notes is really important. I mean, I can't tell you how many different notebooks I have from years, and I keep them all because I love looking back and seeing how things change, and also how some things haven't changed. But my number one thing is, definitely you want to take a lot of notes, but make sure you highlight the gold nuggets. What are the things that really you can implement and realistically that you think you're going to be doing? Now, I used to take so many notes that I wouldn't actually do anything, right? I used to be a kind of a seminar junkie. I did that in real estate. Of course, I love going to different events here in the social media world, specifically YouTube, of course. And it got to a point where I was taking so many notes, but nothing was happening. So then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take any notes, And then again, nothing's happening because I don't remember as much. So now I definitely take a lot of notes, but I'm highlighting, I'm like circling, I'm like thinking like, what are the things that I want to follow up on, learn a little bit more, and definitely apply, right? And I kind of prioritize so that when I go back after the event itself, I can kind of debrief with myself, debrief with my team, and then focus on those gold nuggets to take action on. Of course, you want to take action on everything. And an event like this, I'm telling you, there's so many sessions, there's so many great speakers, you're going to get so much information. But the reality, after all of my experiences, I rarely ever do more than, like, I'd say 20 to 30%. An event like this, I imagine that might be even lower than that. But the point is, you just take the ones that really are going to be most effective for your business, for your channel, for your brand, and you follow up with action. So that's my number one takeaway, is make sure you focus on the few things of all the notes and all the information that apply best to you.
Absolutely. You know, our second big tip for live events, any event at all, is the networking and the collabs. But I know this could be hard for people because sometimes maybe it's hard to approach people and things like that. And so a couple tips when it comes to those, I think even more than the learning, because here's one fact, you know, maybe for some reason you can't get here to Vid Summit or even other events. Sometimes, not all events, but sometimes the recordings are made available. So a lot of times you can you can get the information from an event, but you can never get the experience. You can never get the focus, because I've always found whenever I just get the video files or like the downloads, I never consume it all. I do actually sometimes watch a few, but the fact of actually blocking the time to say, I'm going to sit down and learn is so powerful. But more powerful than all those things is really the relationships. And I was just thinking about, I just did a Facebook post about an event that I attended last year in Vegas. It's coming up again. And out of that, I was like, I met my good friend now, Nick from Grayscale Gorilla. I met Nick and Amanda Byerly from $1 Billion Body. And I actually looked at like, now my people who I'm texting and messaging with and collabing with and doing all this stuff all the time. And I'm like, dude, I met these people at a live event. Of course, with Benji and I, people that we've had on Video Influencers, we have shot tons of videos at live events. So if you ever wanted to do an interview show or something like that, you know, there's that opportunity. But a lot of times also just future collabs. And my biggest tip here is actually that if you go to an event, that you don't go to it thinking you're going to meet someone, seal the deal, and shoot a collab while at that event. Like that it's all going to happen. That you want to go to them to plant seeds, to kind of like really create, you know, a little bit of depth, get to know people, maybe exchange contact information. And that you should always be doing that as an entrepreneur, a creative, a video influencer, because what you're doing is you're planting seeds that you want to water through healthy relationships and staying in contact over time so that they grow up and mature. I was actually just recently on a podcast here in Vegas. It was convenient. Some people flew in, and I realized that the seeds of that relationship were like 3 years prior. And so not that that's, you know, the best encouraging thing for like growing fast, but that's just kind of the way it works. And the people that you meet, one of the things Benji mentioned, I'm stunned by how many people are in the audience at Vid Summit, like big YouTubers, because they go to this event because it's just where the best information is. And more than likely, you will actually never get another chance to just be like, dude, three rows down from me is like such and such person. And it is a chance to you know, get to know them, connect with them. But in that scenario, my advice is that it's not like, hey, nice to meet you. Hey, you want to shoot a collab, right? But usually to kind of build some context, maybe let them know you appreciate their stuff, kind of connect, figure out some ways to add value, maybe follow each other on Twitter, those types of things. And it really can set this stage that might make or break your future career. Because at the end of the day, life, business, success is all about relationships. And there's really no better place to build strong relationships around your topic and around your niche than at industry events that are around your niche. And VidSummit's a great example. But whether you go to that or not, be looking for things locally that you can travel to so that you can always be building your network and your relationships.
Absolutely. I just want to give a shout out to some people. Enticable says, "What's up, my man? What's up, Enticable?" Heather asks, I believe it's Charlotte asks, "What is the event called?" It is Vid Summit. We're going to have all the links to it down below if you want to check it out. But just like what Sean said, like you definitely want to network with people. And of course, have your business cards, give your emails out, and you better believe people are going to give you their emails and phone numbers and business cards. But, I really try to focus on a few relationships. Now, of course, I'm there to learn, right? But also you want to start cultivating the relationships. What I tend to do is kind of like once I find somebody that I feel like, this is somebody I'm not going to be able to hang out with a lot. Maybe they live cross country, but they kind of vibe with my content. They have like a similar audience. Potentially it could lead to a collab. I might go out with them to lunch, right? I might pick a few that I'm like focused on hanging out with throughout the weekend and then getting everybody else's cards. And then what I'll do is I'll follow with everybody. But again, I've already started the relationship with these key people that I think would be potential people I could collab with or network with further, or just like generally become friends with, right? That's one of the things about these live events that I love so much is the fact that us YouTubers, I live in a town north of Seattle. There's not a lot of YouTubers out here. I'm sure there are more, and I've met some of them. But the reality is, like, we don't have like this hangout spot. And I'm sure a lot of you watching have a similar experience. So like these events are your chance to connect with people from literally all over the world and meet the type of people that you could potentially collab with, right? And that's a great thing. You don't actually have to be physically with people to collaborate with them. Sean and I have done plenty of stuff like through Google Hangouts, Skype sessions, all kinds of ways to collab with people. But that initial meeting, right? And like kind of developing the relationship with that person specifically. So again, similar to Notes, you want to meet everybody, right? Exchange information, but really focus on, becoming friends, colleagues with the certain few that you feel you'll have the best chance to collab with in the future. Sean.
Absolutely. And Benji said something. What an actual great strategy is the power of doing a Google Hangouts like this. You could do this with anybody, anywhere. So one of the things that you could do that's a low barrier of entry for maybe someone that you meet at the event is to say something like, an interview would be practical. So in this example, you meet somebody at a live event, kind of get to know them, and then just say something like, "Hey, would you be open to maybe me doing a quick interview with you in the future, just over Google Hangouts, something short and sweet?" They're probably going to say yes. That's a good way to then lock it in, but it's no commitment in the moment. And then you could potentially follow up with them later. So that's good. One question came in about, but what if you're antisocial? And there's, probably two tips off the top of my mind for that. Number one, I actually want to recommend a YouTube channel called Charisma on Command. So our friend Charlie runs that channel. It's a great channel. And he has tons of videos about how to like not be awkward in social situations, how to have more confidence, what to say. And so a lot more that we could probably go in here. That channel is a super valuable resource, Charisma on Command. And the second thing is to just, you kind of got to get over it. But I think just realize like people are more, maybe compassionate, and I really believe less judgmental than you think, in the sense where I think it's just get in the circle. And here's one cool thing about VidSummit in particular, from attending there myself, is that it's a very chill event. To be honest, other events in the YouTube space, you do get a lot of egos. And there's a lot of big YouTubers. They can have big egos. They can seem like kind of too cool for school, kind of like it's gone to their head. And whether it has or it hasn't, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I'm sure you've all experienced that. What's cool is because, our friend Daryl Eves is running it. Such great people are running it. They just don't really let that vibe fly there. It's like super chill. It's just a chance to really, it's amazing. Where some events too, speakers are like inaccessible and it's all about the green room. That's not really this event. Like you meet great people that will just talk to you, answer your questions. And so I think that, being at the right type of event, building boldness, check out Charisma on Command. And tip number 3, Benji.
Absolutely. And, I just love everything that Sean is saying about, this event as well as other events. But one of the things that, I think is really important to remember, just as much about the networking, is about who you go with, right? So tip number 3 is go with someone. So luckily, Sean and I, we've been going to events together for years, even before video influencers, like the picture you saw earlier. We actually attend events together. And why this is awesome is because, especially if you have similar interests, right? You're kind of like motivating each other. I remember, and I'm gonna kind of like go back down memory lane, but it's really fun. Sean and I, at our very first VidCon, we were on the industry level. We like ran to the front row, like thinking like that would make us learn even more if we're that close, right? Maybe we're thinking strategically, like some YouTubers would notice us, but we were like super excited. And that excitement has lasted all these years. Even when we go to events, right? We're like taking notes. But one of the practical benefits of going with somebody is like you have two people, right? So sometimes at these events, there's different sessions, different panels. Sean and I often are very strategic. We'll like split up, even though we know we want to go to the other thing. We're like, you know what? Let's kind of like split up, take notes, and then debrief later. So you get a different, exposures to different types of information. Even when there's like a keynote like Gary, right? We're both going to get different things out of it. Like as you're writing notes, this is one reason why I don't like writing notes the whole time, is because sometimes as you're writing a note, you'll miss what the speaker is saying. But if you have two people there, if it's better if you could have multiple people, right? So again, that camaraderie and that like ability to debrief with that person and kind of like take all the information and bounce it off of somebody, right? Like practically. So you take the information, the advice, the strategies, and then you ask whoever you're there with is like, how can you apply this? How can I apply this to my channel, to my business when I get back home? And it's, again, a way for you to keep each other accountable as well, right? Like an accountability partner for events, making sure to follow up. Sean and I, because we're hanging out all the time, of course, we're going live here. We're recording videos for video influencers. We're continuing to always make sure that we both are following up on the information we got. That's the thing. When you spend good money to go to great events, to get great information and connect with great people, you want to make sure you get great results, right? So if you have somebody there that's going to back you up, that's going to be there to make sure you follow through, I think that's one of the biggest things I could share with you that has benefited me about live events.
100%. And Benji, while you were looking that stuff up, I actually found this video, and here is us at the front row industry. This is 4 years ago.
That's the same shirt. That's the same shirt.
And this is also when we met Tim Ferriss. So what's cool, this is the kind of thing that can happen. You get that potentially like pictures with like heroes, or of yours and whatever else. So we definitely think, live events are great, and going with someone's also super powerful if possible, because it also kind of helps you form an alliance. Am I right? If you've ever been to a live event, let me know in live chat. If you've ever been to one, when you're by yourself, it's kind of the work. You're in the lobby. What do? You just check your phone. You like pretend you're doing something. You're just checking Instagram. You're like, I'm busy. I got work to do. I'm answering emails. You don't know who to talk to. When you have a wingman or a wingwoman, it's really strong because it even makes networking easier, gives you somebody to like bounce ideas off of. And a lot of times then it's also, you could join two people up with like another group, and they might be like, hey, let's all go to lunch. But what's also cool is when you go to a great event that promotes networking, which was one of the biggest things Daryl mentioned when he was talking about Vid Summit, was more time to get people together. Sean Duras is going to be there, more time kind of having fun and like shaking in between sessions. They're going to do some really creative things that I think you'll find that meeting other people, at least at this event, will be a little bit easier than maybe other places. And then number 4 is don't overcommit. Give 100% focus on everything you're attending. A huge thing, if possible. I know we're all busy. You probably maybe have to take off work to attend an event, even locally. You run a job, you run a business, you run things. So you have a lot of busyness. But I found that one of the most powerful things lately, whenever I attend events, is trying to get as much done so I can go with just blank space to learn, to network, but also to just reflect, to eat some good food, to get out of the day-to-day and to get back up to a 30,000 foot level and to think, what is really the strategy of our YouTube channel? What is the strategy of our overall brand online? Where are we really going? Like, what does the next 5-10 years look like? Where do these strategies and action items fit into this? And it's just something so powerful that maybe you're feeling burnt out. Maybe you feel like creatively burnt out, kind of like writer's block. You have like video block. There's just something so powerful about getting out of your day-to-day, seeing new places, new experiences. And therefore, as much as possible, try to focus your time and go into live events so that you can be fully present and not trying to like answer other emails to deal with other business. You may have to, but if you can avoid doing that, it's very powerful.
Absolutely. And additionally to just, giving your all to the event, especially because you're spending this money, you're taking time off of work or whatever to go to this place, is make sure you don't overbook yourself during that time. I know for me, because I'm so busy, sometimes like tempted, like, hey, I might be able to get a meeting across town since I'm in this city with this person I want to meet. And lately I've just been like pushing all of that till after the event or before the event. Definitely the day of. Not only do you want to be present during the event, but like beforehand, right? Sean, right? We like kind of strategize what we're going to do. So like don't have these early morning coffee meetings. And then after the event is when you're doing a lot of the like settling down, talking with whoever you're going with, debriefing. So again, like the whole day, and like Sean said, even like breaking bread and having dinner with your team and just like kind of like, bouncing off different ideas, so important. But like, if you've got this meeting, all that doesn't like settle in as well. So definitely, when I thought of this tip, I was thinking, like, how many times have I just wished I didn't have this going on or this other event going on? And Sean and I actually realized this just recently. We went to an event, another like YouTube conference event, and we said, you know what, this time we're not going to overbook ourselves. We're not going to try to do on the spot collabs like we have been for years. And partly because we already had a lot of content. So we went there with an open mind. In fact, it was like the first time I think Sean and I felt we got the most out of the event since the first time we went to events back in the early 2013 year when we went to that VidCon. So again, like just leaving your mind open and your schedule clear is going to be important for consuming the information and following it up with action later.
Yep. And so we have one more tip. We'll get into Q&A. I did see a question here come in from Rob. How much does it cost to get the one-day pass and is it well attended? I'm actually not sure about the one-day pass, but just for everybody, for clarity, what we're talking about, the event's called Vid Summit. It's coming up October 10 through 13 in Los Angeles. It's right by LAX at the West End. You're going to have some keynote speakers, including Matthew Patrick, Son McBride, and Gary Vaynerchuk, one of our biggest social media influencers for Benji and I personally, who's also never really been at an event like this. So this is historic, seems like a crazy word, but that's how I personally feel about it, as well as a lot of great trainers. Plus Judy's going to be there speaking. That's also really historic. It's something that she typically doesn't do. So it's super cool for her to break down some of the behind the scenes of what they're doing. Benji and I will be there. And so there's a link in the description below that if you want to check out details. Now, registration is a big investment. We're talking, I think the regular registration is around $600, $700. We would recommend VIP because I think VIP is only another $100. And so you might be thinking like, well, okay, that's something I can't do right now. Totally understandable. But definitely, this event, it's different. It's not, think about like if you go to an event like VidCon and you spend, I think, $150 on a community pass, that is from a fan perspective. That's to get access to things, maybe learn a few tips and go to a few panels, but you get about 100. You're not getting, it's worth what it's worth. And you kind of go to see your favorite people. This event is not that. This event is deep dive, strategic, advanced level training. Thus, also a higher price tag just means the people in the room are real, they're playing at a higher level. Thus, the kind of relationships you meet, the people you get around can really 10x your YouTube channel quickly. We titled this video, How to Grow Your YouTube Channel with Live Events. This is because if you go to the right events where you get the right training, learning, advanced strategies that you can take action on, it could be life-changing. Secondly, how to grow your YouTube channel with collabs, the kind of people you meet, the seeds that you plant for business relationships, not just collabs like maybe someone does a challenge with you type of collabs, but also collabs with people who could maybe strategically help you grow your channel. People that are behind the scenes, that are some of the brightest minds in video marketing that can unlock a strategy for you. Maybe you do some sort of a collab or some sort of biz dev that can really grow your channel. And then lastly, advanced strategies. Simply put, and we say that hopefully you've learned to see that we don't try not to do hype. We never try to like exaggerate anything. That the advanced strategies at this conference are just hands down the best. And we go to pretty much the majority of YouTube events. Benji and I have attended or do attend. We love them. We still go. But the reason we're doing a full dedicated video to this, not just because we're there, we're excited about that. Not just because Daryl Eves is our friend, the one who's running it. We're also excited about that. And we would promote it for all of those reasons. But actually we truly believe that the value that you'll get out of this is absolutely insane. If you can make it. And if you can't, save the date and think about even doing it for next year. There's going to be future ones. The one thing I'll say, which is my personal kind of, excitement, is that Gary Vaynerchuk being there is going to be crazy. If you've never watched his stuff before, it has been some of the most actionable stuff that we've applied that's helped us grow online, helped us grow in our businesses, helped us grow our income overall as entrepreneurs. We always read all of his books. And one of the things he always does is he always does Q&A, which is cool. You can get a lot of that information online, but your chances of actually getting your YouTube question or your online video growth question answered by him at VidSummit are extremely high. And that's why I think that this is kind of priceless. It was a killer event before Gary being there. The lineup of speakers is like world class. I've never really seen a lineup quite as stacked as this. But Gary there's kind of the icing on the cake. If you're definitely in LA, I would prioritize getting there. And I think it is going to be huge. Benji, I want you to share some things in a second, but Boise Soccer asked, what's the difference between VidCon and VidSummit? VidCon is a little bit more fan base. Yes, there's an industry and a creator track. And yes, there's a lot of good content there, but it is more weighted on the fan side of things. Great for networking, great for meeting people. Also more crowded though. One of the worst things about VidCon is it's actually not as good for meeting people because it's actually there's 30,000 people that go. VidSummit is different for a couple reasons. One, it is more intimate. So your chance of networking at a high level, meeting people and setting up collabs are like 10x higher than, or 100x higher than something like VidSummit. Two, the information doesn't even compare. Like, it's hard to explain, but when you get into some of the speakers that are going to be at VidSummit, like even just Matthew Gielen, he's been on Video Influencers, right? And we've like, this guy's a master at the YouTube algorithm. He's always testing videos. So is Daryl as far as the algorithm. But you get like Joel Comm. This guy's a live video legend, guys. Jonathan Katz just ran ClamorCon, good friend of ours. Of course, Tim Schmoyer, always dropping stuff. Roberto Blake. Luria, we just recently connected with her with live streaming pros. When you get into guys like Jeremy Vest, Jake Larson, I actually just hired Jake personally for a lot of money to start to teach me about YouTube ads. And I invested in his course. And so like just personally knowing the level that Jake's at, and like Jake manages millions of dollars in YouTube ad spend. But the kind of tips you can learn from his session alone, which actually I regret now because he's going to probably teach his whole system that I had to pay him personally for at VidSummit. But I digress. Jake is the kind of stuff you're going to learn, even if you started doing like 10 bucks a month in YouTube ads, 50 bucks a month in YouTube ads, you can start growth hacking your channel in really strategic ways. And so it's that kind of thing. That's the difference, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answered your question. VidSummit, Playlist Live, some of these other conferences, super cool, super fun, a little bit more fan base. This is deep dive strategy, growth hack your brand, grow your business. What's working today in online video, including organic, paid traffic, ads, funnels, marketing, like heavy level stuff. Multi-platform, my brain hurts thinking about it, but also with excitement.
Boom. So, I want to actually take it back a second and like not talk about just this event or events in general. And we're going to get to tip 5 in no time. I just want to talk about how excited I am about YouTube in general. Sean and I, we've been doing this for a very long time. And one of the reasons why we're excited about this event is just what's happening to the platform, right? There's just more and more people. The reason they can have these events is because people like yourself are taking YouTube very seriously. And I've been on this for about 10 years now, and I've seen the brands, the businesses, different agencies, even like traditional media, Hollywood, taking this platform like to another level in terms of like how they utilize it in their marketing strategies and their advertising strategies. So that means more opportunity for you. And you know, Sean and I, we've seen these events grow. And I remember some of the first, I was at the first VidCon when it wasn't at the convention center, right? It was like in the lobby of like a hotel or something like that. And I wasn't even attending. Some of my friends were there. Super small. We're talking like maybe 1,000, a few thousand. And it's just grown to 30,000 people. There's a reason for that, right? Because there is so much opportunity. The reason these big brands are sponsoring these events is because they know that there's money to be made in this. Now, that's not why we think you should go, right? Of course, that's part of it. That's what we talk about, creating income for your YouTube channel, because that's the reality of life, right? People need to pay the bills. People have ambitions and goals and stuff. However, just realize like this event, Vid Summit, very similarly, it's the beginning of something bigger, right? I mean, I think they had like a few hundred. Sean, how many people would you say was at that first Vid Summit event you went to?
Yeah, the first Vid Summit was a few hundred people.
Yeah, a few hundred.
Yep. And this one will probably be double that, a little bit higher. The other thing is that it's in an intimate venue, and the other thing is that it's I'm confident it's going to sell out. Like
exactly.
Yeah, especially with Gary there, everything else, it's going to be crazy.
So you're talking about, I mean, obviously this is an opportunity to get in early, but just realize what's happening to our space, what's happening to the internet, social media, specifically with YouTube. There's just tons more people watching, and there's definitely more creators. You know, I just recently spoke at this elementary school, and I asked, you know, how many kids in the classroom have a YouTube channel? Almost everybody raised their hand, right? These kids know that the future requires you to be on social media and YouTube specifically. Now, what's interesting, a lot of them didn't know like what they were going to talk about. They know they want to become like a Casey Neistat or like one of the Paul brothers, but they don't know exactly what their content is going to be. But they know that they need to be there, right? They have these accounts, they have their names. And I know that in you know, older generation like myself, or even other people in different industries, different businesses, that it is so important to be on top of your social media game. Of course, a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of you watching, are wondering, how do I level up my YouTube game? So hopefully Sean and I are doing that for you. That's why you're watching, right? The people that are on here are watching, and hopefully we're doing that for you, not just in this live broadcast, but other broadcasts as well as the videos. But these events, specifically this Vid Summit, you're talking about, like, let's just set aside all the keynote speakers like Gary, or even people like my wife and other YouTubers, and even Sean and I. Some of the nitty gritty stuff that really moves the needle come from the people that you might not know of. Matt Geelan, one of the reasons why I'm friends with him is because years ago, he was the guy behind the scenes helping us, you know, like work with the algorithm to make sure we're optimizing to get the most views. And he's going to be there speaking, right? Daryl Eves, the actual person that put on this event, he's probably one of the smartest guys we know when it comes to like behind the scenes, analytics driven strategies, you know, like working within the different tools that YouTube offers. And I'm sure he's going to be speaking to it. It's his event. He expects a certain level of value to be delivered. So I say all this to get to number 5, right? I want to answer a question and then get to it, but just be excited about what's happening, because I'm excited. Even after 10 years of doing this, Sean and I are excited about our future, even though, you know, we've already done so much in the past, and even now things are good, but there's just so much opportunity. So we're just excited for you guys to be here. And if you guys haven't ramped up your channel, haven't uploaded videos, we would ask you guys to start considering doing it. If not, do it today, right? Post up something, like start getting practice in, or level up your game by going to these events, right? Watching more of our videos and watching more videos that, you know, will help you level up. So one of the things I want to mention is there's a question from John about how do you get your team prepared for these events, right? And it's a perfect question because it kind of leads into tip number 5. But what I do is I actually meet with our team, like I meet with Sean, and I ask everybody's like, what do you think you would get the most out of this session, right? Or what sessions are going to benefit your position or where you want to go? And a lot of times, sometimes I'm saying like, hey, is there something else you want to learn for your own sake, right? So again, like getting everybody aligned, having some goals, and hitting up different sessions at different times. But also, it's not just what you do beforehand that's useful, it's what you do afterwards. So tip number 5 is the debrief and the follow-up session. Again, you have this notebook full of notes, and like I was mentioning before, highlighting the gold nuggets. Now, afterwards, right? So after the weekend, it's Monday or it's Tuesday, pop out that notebook and start working on those action items. And again, this is why it's good to have a team. Go with your friend, go with your co-founder, whatever that might be, and actually have a meeting specific to it. I almost kind of plan the day that I'm going to be doing this before I even go to the event. I'm like, clear my schedule, and I actually take that notebook out for about an hour or two, and it's like, okay, what were the best things? What are the things realistically I can play now? What are things I want to put on my to-do list for the next few weeks? So important, because I'm sure, how many of you guys have gone to events, Sean? I'm sure you can relate to this. Have a notebook full of notes, never do anything without it. So schedule that follow-up. It's so important. Sean.
Yeah, so we want to jump into some Q&A. So practically, a couple of people are asking, if you want to learn more about VidSummit, the link is right in the description. You can just go down there, just click that link. It'll take you over to the page. You can see who all the speakers are, all the details about the event, where the hotel is, the frequently asked questions. We do know it's a big investment, but you know what you invest in is where you get the biggest returns. And so a couple questions. Life by Jazz, have you announced your meetup in LA yet? I'm in LA. We will definitely be doing a meetup in LA as far as video influencers, that the question is about. But as far as, if you're just joining us, one of the things that we're going to be doing that first night at VidSummit, October 10th, there's kind of like a networking party the first night. Of course, Benji and I and Judy, I think, will be there. And if you wanted to connect and really have some, concentrated time to just talk about your channel, talk about your going through, that is going to be, a meetup for those who attend VidSummit. I also saw Chris says, for events like VidCon, do you have to be invited, or are live tickets basically just available? If I understand the question right, you don't have to be invited. Anybody can register. And if you want to learn more about VidSummit, there's a link in the description to register or see details about it. Oh, a couple things too that we want you to take advantage of. Number one, early bird, depending on when you're watching this video, is going on now. I believe it ends in a few days, and depending on when you're watching this. And so prices are going to go up. So if you do want to secure the best rates possible, now would be the time to get them. And again, we think that it'll probably sell out, but at least to just lock in savings, make sure to register during early bird to save the most. And then Professor Heather Austin, great question. Would you recommend this event for someone just starting? I just uploaded my first video last week. The biggest thing I'd recommend for just starting is certainly, and we would never want you we'd tell you to go to an event if it was something like you couldn't afford, but we always believe that wisdom is the shortcut to success. For example, doing YouTube ads. That is why we had never done YouTube ads. And so you'd say, well, Sean, do you think that you've never done YouTube ads? Should you go to a conference about them or invest in that? Well, what is the shortcut? The reason I paid Jake Larson money and bought his digital course was because I just knew that the shortcut to success was always learning and modeling the masters. Why try to go through the pain of testing and trying things and having things fail and trying experiments when you can go get all of the experiments that countless other legends in the online video space have tested? They're not going to show you all the things that didn't work. Then you get to do Q&A with them. You say, I'm thinking about doing this. And they go, yeah, don't do that. I tried it for 6 months. It didn't work out. That is the most precious thing you could get, because that saves you time. So it's always the shortcut to invest in resources. That's why we buy books. That's why we pay for plane tickets to fly to events. That's why we register for conferences. That's why we invest in digital courses. That's why we're always learning, because lifelong leaders are lifelong learners. One of the most wealthy people in the world, Warren Buffett, said that the best investment you can ever make, and he's invested a lot of money in the market, in banks, the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. because whether you lose your job, if you've invested in yourself and you have that value, skills, expertise, wisdom, well, you can always get another job. You could always start over and remake, even if you lost something, because you learned how to do it. So, in answer to your question, I would say yes. Of course, always be diligent with your finances, budget it out. The cost, if you have to travel there, it's going to be a pretty big investment. We pretty much guarantee, in fact, we do guarantee it's worth the investment, especially if it's even if you're just starting, because it's the shortcut.
Boom. And, just to piggyback on that, it definitely is going to be worth the expense to attend this, right? Because, I mean, just to be able to have your question answered by these people, that's one of the reasons why we love doing these live broadcasts, right? Is because we get to connect with you guys and directly answer your questions. And at this event, you potentially could have Gary Vaynerchuk, right, answer your question. One of the things I love about Gary, by the way, I am a fan, right? I consider myself an acquaintance, maybe kind of a friend, because I've known him for so long. But the thing is, his Q&A sessions are amazing because he takes your situation and he applies his principles to whatever your industry, whatever your content is, whatever your business model is. And I think that's amazing, right? And those are things you're going to get not just out of Gary, but other people. And hopefully we can also answer questions of yours if you're attending too. So anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. I want to answer the next question. You guys leave them down below. There's a little comment area. And we'll try to get to them. Even the ones after the broadcast is done, we will answer them as much as we can. This is from Johnny Del Valle. She says, what would you say to Spanish content influencers? How do you guys see the market for us on YouTube or social overall? Love your content, guys. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for the question. And I can actually speak to this because I have experience with this. But generally speaking, I think any language, there's a ton of opportunity, right? Like, of course, different countries, different regions will have different platforms they're using, but there's nobody that comes close to YouTube, right? And there's a huge need for more languages, bilingual people, bilingual creators. And I actually have an experience with this. My wife, Judy of It's Judy Time, she was able to grow her influence to multiple millions of followers across different platforms, including YouTube, and had a huge segment of her audience being Spanish speaking. So she started a Spanish speaking channel called Beiza con Judy, right? Now, she doesn't know how to speak Spanish, so we had to get a translator in Mexico to dub all her videos. But she had her videos, sent them to this creator, dubbed them, and put them out on this channel specifically for her Spanish viewers who were asking for it. Now, that is like above and beyond. Most creators aren't doing that. But even if you can get closed captions in other languages, super powerful. But the point is this. I think the opportunity is there. And when there's a lot of opportunity, but not a lot of competition, it's great for you. I just recently met this person his name is Basho, and he does different videos on kids content in different languages and teaching different things. I think that's amazing. The more languages you can create your content in, the better, but it takes time. If you already know how to speak the language and you can do your videos in that language and optimize for the audiences in your country, in your region, in the places where they speak your language, huge opportunities. Sean.
Great question came in from Ramon. What is one of the most underrated things that can make a difference in your channel? Ramon, we could probably share a couple. Benji could probably give you two. I'll give you two. I think this will add value to everybody. It's a super great question. I think one of the most underrated things people could to do is, number one, research before you ever shoot the video. I think a lot of people, they plan out their video, they hit record, they post on YouTube, but what they haven't done yet is actually researched kind of the keywords. They haven't gone to YouTube. Let me just give you an example. If they haven't gone to YouTube, if you thought, okay, I've got, a cooking channel and I'm trying to think about what to cook next. What most people haven't done is they haven't typed in how to cook and then went through this list and started to actually see what people were interested in. How to cook chicken, how to cook asparagus. But you do another space, and now you're like, how to cook asparagus with bacon. If you simply took the time to do this and spent more time in research, coming up with these video ideas, how to cook asparagus with bacon on the stove, then you would have massively more success. And what I mean is people do like a cute nod to that. I spend now, and mind you, I do this full time now, so it's a little bit different depending on like a side hustle or not. But I would spend a Saturday morning just doing research the whole time, not shooting videos. But what that did was it meant my videos would rank in search. People were interested in them. Why? Because people are actually interested in, because I did the research to see what kind of videos do people want to see? What kind of topics are people actually going to watch? I would use Google Keyword Planner. Write that down. You can check it out later. Google Keyword Planner to actually see how many people are searching for certain terms per month. And then as a result, I built up this library of ranked videos that eventually grew my channel and allowed me to go personally full-time on Think Media because of pretty much that one thing. People, if you're already doing research, I really believe you're not doing enough. And here's why I think it's so underrated is because it is the least sexy thing you could talk about. There's no lights, there's no camera, and there's actually no action. It's like, it's just staring at kind of like Google Keyword Planner. It's just doing it, maybe not finding anything, maybe kind of drawing a blank for 20 minutes. But if at minute 34 of research, you're like, oh, there's the video idea. Whoa, no one's done that one yet people are interested in it. Boom, you get this video idea, and one video could make or break. Actually, it could actually get the exposure for your entire YouTube channel. So I would spend more time doing research. Benji, what do you think the most underrated thing that someone could do?
By the way, I'm in a sauna of an office, so if I look like I'm sweaty, that's why. But also, it's because I'm so excited about this broadcast and excited about this question because I love Sean's tip because it's like something you can do previous to even recording the video, uploading it. But my tip is post-production work. So after you've recorded your video, after you edited and uploaded, like what can you do afterwards? So like the optimization, tagging, title, info box, and distributing it and then engaging with people. So many people work so hard on the content, right? And then they upload it and they set it and forget it kind of mode and just hope that the views will happen. And Sean and I, we teach this. We just did a masterclass and we're talking about like how what you do afterwards is so important. Even me, sometimes it's just like, you know, I'm kind of busy. I just uploaded something recently and I look back and I forgot to tag it and I'm wondering why it's not getting views. Well, it's because YouTube doesn't know what it's about, right? Of course, you can't just rely on the title. You have to do the tags in the info box, but post-production work, so simple. Anybody can do it and anybody can learn it. That's what I love about it. It's like, it's not something that you have to be super skilled at to apply. And over time, you get better and better and better. And one of the reasons why I feel my wife, Judy, has been so successful on YouTube, and literally she's gotten over 1 billion video views online, is because of the post work she would do. She would engage sometimes for 2 or 3 hours with her viewers, answering comments, replying back to people on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Back then, we weren't using Instagram, so I guess X that out. But to this day, still engaging. So important for the success of your video on YouTube.
And actually, I want to share, I know we said 2, we can land the plane on this, and you only asked for 1. But one tip that I just thought about, because it was hitting me last night, and you were mentioning Judy would, you know, engage with people for 2 to 3 hours. That I also think is one of the most, for everybody watching, one of the most underrated and underapplied, I think, actions that video influencers should be taking is more engagement with your audience constantly. And what I'm actually stunned by is how little I'm seeing it less from people who kind of break through a little bit. So maybe you get to like 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 subscribers and people stop doing it. I say, don't ever stop doing it. You can't always scale it. Like I'm at a point, like even on Think Media, small compared to It's Judy time. There's no way I could keep up with all the comments there, but I think your effort has to stay the same. What do I mean? I mean, talking to people on Twitter. I mean, conversations in Instagram DM. I don't just mean even replying, because maybe not a lot of people are tweeting you. I mean, meaningful engagement, minutes on the, like, I look at it as grinding, like a long work day. I'm like, all right, let me do a 30-minute session, sit on my couch in the other room and just engage on people's Instagrams. Who are maybe some future interviews we'd want to do? Let me just be liking their stuff, following their stuff. The amount of hustle people aren't putting in when it comes into Twitter, Instagram, DMs, commenting on other people's videos in a strategic, non-spammy way. I don't mean sub for sub, go, you know, like go check out my channel. I don't think that's the best way to do it. I mean, really actually creating meaningful online relationships. There's people who are also so good about it that I've noticed for a certain amount of time, if someone is connecting with me on Twitter and I'm like, I see that person again, I see that person again, I see the quality of their engagement, they retweet some stuff, then eventually I'm like, dude, I just really, there's like a relationship building, there's a follow back that's going to happen. Well, now when someone follows you back, you could DM them. Well, now when you could DM them, again, you don't want to just be like, hey, want to get married? That might be a little too fast. But then they can maybe DM, say, hey, I'm going to be in Vegas where I live. Let's collab. If someone has built rapport with me for a year, you know, on social, then it's like, yeah, let's do it. You know, let's make it happen. It's going to be way easier to get a yes than it is if you just go out of nowhere. So I think a lot of people are not putting enough time in the relationship, community connection, connecting with your community, connecting with your peers, and connecting with influencers. Those three levels, really the stars, you know, in the place, your peers, and then also people who are maybe following your channel. Put in the time. That's your job. If you're a video influencer, that's your job. If you're not doing that, you're actually not doing your job, because that's what video influencers, the smart ones, the ones who care, the ones that are going to last, the ones that create depth, that's just what they do.
Boom. And I just love all the information, love all the engagement. You guys keep leaving the comments. I'm reading them as Sean is talking. I'm sure Sean is reading them as I'm talking. I want to answer this next question before we just finish this broadcast. It's from Whittaker, and it says, what's your thoughts on buying subscribers? Why would YouTube give you a play button if you purchased your own subs? Short answer is I would never ever recommend buying subscribers or buying anything, right? I can tell you from my friends, the people that I've been able to connect with, obviously Sean, my wife, other YouTubers I know that have become successful, almost nobody, when I say almost everyone I know, has not bought subscribers. They do it organically from hustle. That's what it takes. It takes hard work. And the great thing is this, like when you do this the hard way, through hustle, and you're engaging with real people, not fake people, right? Not fake comments. I don't even know how all that works. Then you're going to build an audience that trusts you. You're going to build a tribe of people that respect you and want to continue supporting you and continue consuming your content, right? And just about YouTube and them, it's not like they want to give these buttons to people that are buying it. And I'll tell you this, YouTube, they work very hard to delete these people, okay? Like these fake accounts. I don't know if you guys have noticed, some of you that are more established, maybe have more subscribers, notice like sometimes like a whole bunch of people just leave. Well, they're purging subscribers all the time, inactive accounts. And it's the same with these like fake accounts. So definitely never do it. And just know this, one of the reasons why we love interviewing YouTubers is because, you know, a lot of the principles are very similar to how they got successful, how they grew their channel to, you know, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 subscribers. It's just from sheer hustle. Of course, planning, researching, optimization, those things are important, but it's hard work. You know, this is the thing. A conversation is a conversation. A reply is a reply. Engagement is engagement. Uploading video is uploading video. It takes a lot of work and effort to gain success, and I would never, ever recommend it. Now, there is something to be said about this pay to play. So what pay to play is, it's a little bit different because you're not buying subscribers, but you're buying exposure, right? You're utilizing the ad strategies, again, which you'll learn at this event. On Facebook, everybody knows you can boost your post, right? So important to understand the significance of it, that you're not buying subscribers, you're just buying exposure to your own audience, right? Sadly, you know, like because of the way the algorithm works, when you post up something, this is really a great takeaway for people in general. realize when you're posting up something, whether on YouTube, Facebook, or any platform, there's no guarantee that every one of your followers, subscribers are actually seeing your posts. That's why the hustle is so important to like distribute it on all social media. That's why you want to continue to engage. That's why you want to optimize to make sure people are watching all the way through. That's engaging quality content that people like are loving, so that it does get on people's feeds. It does get on the suggested videos. Because realize, just because you have so many followers, look even at our views, right? Like there's a reason why we don't have as many views as followers, is because naturally a lot of people aren't getting our videos on their radar, and we're always working to bring content that's quality that people want to come back for and search. But when you have like suggested videos determining what's best for that viewer, and also algorithms on Facebook that determine which videos are most entertaining, keeps them on longer. Pay to play is really important to understand, and exploring advertising, which again, you're going to learn about at this event, Vid Summit. If you guys are just joining us, we're talking about the best ways to get the most out of live events, collaborating with people, using advanced strategies for your channel, but also we're promoting an event that we're going to be a part of in LA. All the information is down below. It's going to be in early October. It's called Vid Summit. You can go to our link and check it out, and they've got the early bird price right now. So get it right now if you want to pay the lower price. But that's what we're doing here. We're just excited in general. Definitely excited to meet you guys that are planning on attending and meeting us. Sean.
Yeah, let's do a rapid fire session, Benji, with so a couple questions, HamTube, and we would definitely want to try to answer your questions, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to be doing a collab with another YouTuber. What advice can you make it for us to make successful? Here's my advice: open up a Google Doc. If you never use Google Docs, it works with your Gmail. It's free. Open up a Google Doc, share it with them, and that you enter their email. You guys can work on it together. This is how Benji and I do a lot of work. It's how we have our notes for this hangout. We're technically doing a collab. He's in Seattle, I'm here in Vegas, and then put some things in there. I would actually try to title your video before you go live. What's the title of the video? That's maybe if you're going to do the dual channel thing. What's the video on their channel going to be? What's the video on your channel going to be? What's the actual title? What's the content? And then just put some notes underneath about what it is you're going to do, what you maybe need to do in prep, and just think through all the working parts. I don't know, like if you're going to be in person, maybe make checklists. Here's a couple. Shoot just the video, but maybe also shoot a promo together that you could post on Instagram. Hey guys, we just did a collab. Go check it out. Link in bio. Maybe do a little photo shoot together so that you can have other photos to share on social media, and just drop all of those creative ideas into that one Google Doc, which will also work as just kind of your production checklist to make sure that you do everything. And the last tip is watch some other collabs in your niche and in your topic. And as you're watching other collabs, capture those notes onto that Google Doc. Let it just be this big drop of creativity. I think after you watch some other videos, you're going to have a ton of ideas. And then I'll hit this one, Benji. Twin Comics, how do I make a drawing channel? We have a video by Stan Prokopinko. So he's actually a pretty, he's very established drawing YouTuber. Great YouTuber. He shares his best tips. He's the best one to answer those. If you need a link to that, Heather might be able to look it up. She could share that with you, or send me a tweet on at Sean Cannell on Twitter, and I'll make sure you can find that video. Rapid fire, Benji.
Boom. First off, I want to give attention to Revenge of the Dreamer. Just use Super Chat to give us $5 to support video influencers. Thank you guys so much for that. This is a new tool you can use to support us. It's called Super Chat. There's a little $ there. So thank you so much. The first question I want, I want to piggyback on your advice there about the drawing channel. What I would ask you is, what do you do in your life to find channels, right? And whatever that is, figure out how you can position yourself to be that way. An example of this is Snapchat. One of the early kind of fun things about Snapchat was Snapchat artists, right? And we have a friend named John Mediana, and he was like a Snapchat artist. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. He's like, yeah, you should look it up. Well, I was like, I don't know how to look it up because Snapchat doesn't have a search tool. So I looked on Google and I saw these blog sites talking about different Snapchat artists. So that I just checked them out. I went to them, I followed a couple, and that's that's how I found them. So ask yourself, like, is there a way you can create a blog post? I mean, like in the day of YouTube, I rarely tell people to go start a blog post, but like if that's something that people are utilizing to like spread the word about their channel, specifically drawing, I would look into it. So like there's not always a direct way. It's not always through YouTube that you're going to get exposure. So keep your mind open to those other options. X House asks, what are some books you can suggest for YouTubers? Now, the number one book is actually, ironically, from the speaker of this event that we're also going to be speaking at. It's Gary Vaynerchuk's Crush It. Simply put, super short book. It applies just about to any industry or business, and still the tips that he's giving still apply to today, right? His principles to success. And it's just like, there isn't a book that I know that'll get you more pumped up, more excited about just life in general and the opportunities than that book alone. Sean, is there a book that you would recommend to people about starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend a lot of stuff. I think all of Gary V's books are actually pretty essential. Thank You Economy, Jab, 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 Right Hook will help you use social more. And then the Ask Gary V book as well. And again, this is why we're so pumped. You can see that we're clearly, you know, like Gary and appreciate him. So when we heard Gary, it's crazy that he's here. Like,
it's crazy.
You know, not to downplay the event, but like to see Gary in an intimate setting like this is going to be kind of priceless. It's not something that'll probably happen maybe ever again. And so that's why we're really hoping, if you can make it, that to not miss that opportunity. I wrote down a couple other Smartcuts. Definitely read Smartcuts, which I love about the book's one of the best books, because there's no shortcuts in life, but there are Smartcuts. And so you always got to do the work, but if you're strategic, there's ways to save time. And one of the chapters is actually about Michelle Phan, and it shares YouTube strategies, but every single chapter is legit. 10X Rule, I would also check out. And then Seth Godin, almost anything by Seth Godin. But Purple Cow would be great. Purple Cow, for sure. We'll link up everything in the description as well if you're watching on this replay, the books, you know, some of those channels, the videos we've recommended, some of those other things. Sade asked, do you guys know of any events like VidCon on the East Coast? Yeah, check out Playlist Live in Florida. Masked Mage asks, I have some followers on other platforms, but they don't like coming cross-platforms. Once you build a cross-platform community, what's the best way to get them all to your YouTube channel? I'm going to answer the question in a weird way, and that is that I almost feel like a better strategy on social has less to do with cross-promoting, but you should. And when you do cross-promote from like Facebook to YouTube, you can certainly grow those two things. But the better strategy is to actually grow on the platform, to think actually less about how do I get people from my Facebook channel, Facebook page to my YouTube channel. The bigger thing is, how do I grow as a video influencer on Facebook? How do I become a Facebook video influencer? Grow that, still cross promote from time to time. But what people forget is that if you grow influence anywhere, income and impact will follow. So it's not, how do I use Instagram to grow my YouTube channel? You could do that. But actually, how do I actually just grow my Instagram, add content right there for the people that are right there? Because what we can't forget is that everybody's on Instagram and they love it, but they don't necessarily want to go watch a YouTube video. Otherwise, they would have opened YouTube. So I would say the most you should be thinking about is crush YouTube as is. And by far, we got videos on this. There are tips. I'm not saying don't cross promote, but I'm saying that pick platforms strategically, have YouTube and maybe at the most one or two other ones that you're focusing on, and then focus on actually building your influence on that platform. And what I mean, lastly, is one of the worst things you could do is have an Instagram account that all it does is say, hey, I've got a new video out. That all it does is has thumbnails that point you to YouTube. What you should be doing is, if your Instagram account was about makeup tutorials and your YouTube channel is about makeup tutorials, rather than telling people to leave to go watch that, give them the makeup tutorial on Instagram. Square video, 60 seconds. Now you have carousels, so you could actually do up to 10 minutes of video on Instagram, Instagram stories, Instagram live. Serve your niche, your brand on the actual platform. And then because you do that, cross-promoting will actually work, because people will actually be paying attention, getting value on the platform. And then you say, hey, by the way, guys, you know, I can't really share it here. It's much longer, but I just did like a deep dive on YouTube. Go watch it. You actually have attention that can then take action and go check out your YouTube channel.
Boom. So I'll answer the next question from El Vlog del Business. What would be some questions you would ask to Gary? I'm so curious, guys. So for me, I watch a lot of Gary's stuff regularly, and I've watched him over years. So I try to apply the principles that he advises us through his videos daily in our own content. So my question would be like, what are his thoughts in terms of how we execute specifically for our channel, right? So I would explain video influence. Of course, we've interviewed him, but I would tell him where we're at today, what kind of our goals are. And that's, again, another reason why this event where he's speaking, if you got the opportunity to have him tell you his thoughts on your specific channel and what you're doing. Now, the thing is, naturally, Gary's all about like general principles that would be good for anybody to hear. But when he can give you nitty gritty on your specific industry, your specific business, obviously your type of content, that's what I would ask Gary. I'm not sure what Sean would, but I want to answer the next question real quick.
Well, let me just, because I want to stick there just for a second and then take the next question.
Yeah.
That is actually why it's such a big deal. And obviously we were not Gary, but that's actually why the first night, even with us, is a little bit different, right?
Is that the VIP night? The VIP night?
Or just the normal networking night, and we'll be there. We could talk to people. Is because when we share like 7 tips for how to grow your YouTube channel here, it has to be somewhat general. Where the magic really happens with all the speakers is when you could get in front of them and present your situation. So when you say, what would I ask Gary? I would ask him about my situation. I might ask, hey, I've got 3 team members now. How do I get to 5? You know what I mean? And that, like, you don't really make a video about that. That is like nuanced to exactly where I personally am today. As Benji mentioned, hey, looking at video influencers, what would you do? Just bring it up on the phone, show him, and not just him, but other people there. That's one of the reasons why live events are so powerful, because you have some time to give some context. So now the strategies, general strategies, sometimes maybe that's why they're not working with you, because you're applying a general strategy on top of some things you're not seeing, some blind spots. When you could get that feedback, not just from Gary, from Daryl, from Tim, from Roberto, from Luria, from Sean Duras, when you could get feedback from individuals, from Benji, from Judy, then they could say, what I might do is they could just look in an instant. Oh, I'd tweak your thumbnails. I would tweak your whole branding. Your channel doesn't make sense. I don't know what it is. When you could get that personalized feedback to your questions, that's when the game can change like that. Okay, Benji, next question.
Boom. So the next question is from Michael. How effective are Twitter ads when it comes to marketing your YouTube channel? I typically use YouTube promote it. YouTube is better. So generally speaking, I think that if you decide to commit to any kind of advertising tool on any platform, it's all about how you work it, how you learn from your experiences and optimize and improve your strategy. I think this whole idea of pay to play, which means you need to run advertising to be able to play, to get exposure to your own audience and a new audience, is something that is still in its infancy in terms of creators, right? Tons of businesses, that's how they even have a business model, because a lot of businesses, brands, and entities are utilizing the advertising. But as creators, you don't see that very often, because a lot of creators, I can speak from experience, my wife wanted to grow organically, right? It's Judy time, totally grew organically. Now, I can tell you this, I totally am up to using advertising to be able to grow your audience, because there's so much content out there. Now, Sean and I, we try to teach you guys general principles that let you grow your channel, get views, get subscribers without any advertising, right? Like the general best practices that would be helpful for any channel creator. However, when you utilize advertising and those best practices and quality content and engage with your audience and build trust within them, you're talking like you're unstoppable. And you better believe the best of the best are utilizing any of the advertising. So I can't speak to Twitter specifically because I don't use it, but we do run Facebook ads and YouTube ads. And I believe if I had the bandwidth, I would totally utilize Twitter ads. And I know that there's been a lot of success stories with Twitter ads. It's all about how you work it. Everyone can do a bad job even paying for ads, but like, are you going to be one of those people that optimize and are going to be like a ninja when it comes to that? So that's the answer. Sean, do you want to follow that up in terms of Twitter specifically when it comes to ads?
Also haven't used them and haven't heard the best things about them. Similarly, haven't heard the best things about Instagram ads at the time. And I work with a lot of people who spend a lot of money on ads. But Facebook and YouTube, there's a reason why Benji said that. And it's the reason why we're focusing on them, both extremely strong, powerful, but that's not counting them out. We just aren't experts on those. Ryan, are any people looking for comedy at the moment on YouTube? Always. People are always looking for consistent, strategic, quality content. They always are. The thing is, Ryan, keep working your craft, keep working on your comedy, keep trying to get a viral video, keep trying to get shareable content. The key with comedy is going to be shareable. It's not really searchable. No one's like, they don't know what it's about. They don't know what to search for. So it needs to be shared. It needs to get in related videos, suggested videos, the trending page, all those types of things. But 100%. Forever, people are looking for comedy. Everybody always wants to laugh. And so I hope that helps. And then Nick's fan, Benji, you could share your side. What tools are you using to record and stream the live Google Hangout session? I am using a Logitech webcam. And I've got a Rode NT mic here. It's got a cool kind of boom arm, and that's been a new addition that I added. And then I've got a light up above me here, and pretty simple. So it's a webcam that just plugs. The webcam's about $60, plugs right into your computer. Just kind of a normal light I just threw up there, and then a decent USB mic. But I've used cheaper USB mics as well.
Yeah, and you know, specifically if you're wondering how we're actually recording this, we're using Google Hangouts to do it. So Google Hangouts is broadcasting, records this, and uploads it as a video. Sean, can you still hear me? Am I coming in clear? And another tool you can use, there's like these softwares now. OBS Studio is one of the ones we use, and that's a software where you can actually broadcast to multiple platforms at the same time. So hopefully that answers a question. And you guys continue to leave the comments down below. Even after this broadcast, we're going to try our best to answer. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting us by watching our videos. And we hope that we're helping you guys build your influence, income, and impact with online videos, and hope to see you guys in LA if you guys are going to be around in October and want to attend that great event called Vid Summit.
Yeah, lastly, guys, and if you could do us a favor, if you got value out of this, you know, when it goes down, live chat does disappear. So if you do have a question, we could also probably tackle it in future videos. So once this video pops re-up on Video Influencers, it'll have 0 comments. If you could head over, leave your question there, and then that way, even if we can't answer it, we'll be able to include it in a future video. Practically, if you want to check out notes and learn more about VidSummit, just click the link right at the top of the description. That'll take you over to the website. You can learn all the information. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out. New interview dropping tomorrow. Tomorrow's interview is going to be fire. So check that out here on the channel. New videos and new tips and strategy videos from Benji and I coming soon. Appreciate you. Keep crushing it. Keep smashing it. If you can't get to VidSummit, no big deal. Get to live events though. Prioritize live events. And we look forward to seeing you at one someday or at a meetup someday. But other than that, keep crushing it. Benji, land the plane.
You guys take care, and hopefully you guys are taking seriously the opportunity that's at hand, and you guys can, just like at other events, apply the knowledge that we are sharing, and hopefully you're going to get your own gold nuggets out of this broadcast and apply it to your channel and your YouTube journey. Peace.